Peace and love, family and friends, naysayers, whomever. My name is Leon Wheeler Jr., and this is Master Making in Motion. In today's brief talk, part three, it's all about the babies. As always, I have to start by saying that I do not claim to be an authority on this subject matter. I'm passionate about it, but not an authority. I've studied the subject matter for many years because I'm a parent, I'm a father, a grandparent. I'm a lover of life, and I want to see my people, my race, prosper. And this is my way of giving my sacrifice to giving to our particular plight, striving to be a beneficial presence in my family, friends, loved ones, naysayers, everyone's life, if all possible. So the subject matter today, we're going to tackle the concept of introducing children, young children, into chores, positive habits. I want to introduce them into some habits and we're going to start them off at the age of 3 or possibly 5. But the younger, the better, because we want them to get in the habit of doing these things. We want this to become a part of their makeup, their nature. And it definitely prepares them for the future because and it gives them some leverage in the game of life. And this is what we're about. We're about doing our very best to motivate and to inspire these young kings and queens because the future is in their hands. So we want to give them what they deserve. We want to give them a head start and give them some power and build confidence and their self-esteem. So we're going to start by introducing some chores. Again, we're talking about for children appropriately very young, 3 years old, 5 years old, and throughout the process, we're going to interject or enter. We're going to bring older children into it. We're not going to follow no particular structure because the subject matter is so so diverse that we may miss something here or there, but we'll come back and do our best to tie it all up. Because again, we're just striving to give information that can possibly empower and motivate the parents to motivate their children to give us the power we need. So I'm going to start by suggesting that we teach our children at a young age to clean up behind themselves. You know what I'm saying? So they got their areas where they might have their toy chest or whatever, maybe their room. We want them to pick up their toys, teach them to pick up behind themselves, to pick up their toys. If you've been reading to them or playing with them or engaged in, it's their job to keep their area clean. So we want to encourage them to do that. We want to encourage them to keep their area clean. We want to encourage them, let's say there's mealtime. It's time for a snack or whatever. We want to motivate them to be a part of that process, being a part of maybe teaching to set the table, possibly pour the drinks if we're drinking water or Kool-Aid or what have you, pour the drinks. And if they spill the drinks, you want to teach them to clean up behind themselves, to clean the spills. We want to motivate them to, take a position in the household chores. Because this is the part, again, we want them to develop positive habits. So we need them to clean up behind themselves and help with the chores. So you may want to teach them to dust, to help dust the place and keep it tidy. We want to teach them uh, develop self cleaning habits or positive self habits. Period. We want to teach them how to put their clothes on. If they use the bathroom, they need to know how to pull up their underwear, put on their shirt. So we want them to learn how to do self maintenance. So we want them to be able to teach them to tie their shoes. And we're doing all of this at a young age. We're starting again from the age of 3 or possibly 5. It depends on some children, but the main thing is I'm encouraging the parents to get in the mind frame of keeping their children busy doing productive things and developing certain habits that they'll be able to take with them into adulthood. And these things are important. So we're going to teach them that. We're going to teach them, say we're doing laundry. You're doing laundry, you want to teach your children to participate in that. You want to help, they can teach them to help sort out the clothes, put them in certain piles, or teach them to fold the clothes. You know what I'm saying? So these are things that we're definitely going to do. We want to teach them to, say if you got a pet, you want to teach them how to participate in the feeding and grooming of the pet. Now, as a child, you have to supervise them at the age of 3 to 5, but you get them in the habit of, again, being productive. And one of the problems that I see a lot of today is the kids aren't doing anything. They're not contributing to the household chores. And if they're doing it, they're just probably doing 1 or 2 small things, but they're not being encouraged to do a gamut of things. And that's what you want them to do. Because they say there's a saying that the idle mind is the devil's playpen, or something to that effect. So we want to keep them doing positive things. There's time for the play. Like I said, you started off with them playing. And when in their play, we want to make sure that they clean up behind themselves. So they're doing chores. We want to also teach them to involve them in the outside chores. If you're gardening or whatever, you take them outside and you allow them to help you in your garden. We want to keep them focused on always doing chores, because life is, if they don't do that, they become complacent, really lazy, and you're not going to be able to compete like that. So we want to motivate our children at an early age to participate in positive actions, productive things. This is important. So we want to start this out at again, really young, 3 to 5 years old. And you keep it age appropriate, the things that you bring them into, the things that you invite to them. And we want to, if we possibly can, we want to even invite some fun to it, because we want to encourage them and motivate them. And we always promote, or we always, what's the word I'm looking for? We always bless them with gifts for their good behavior. We want to promote that. We want to bless them with, rewards for good behavior. So we want, and another thing parents need to keep in mind, because we're dealing with young spirits, we have to keep in mind that we have to be patient with them. We can't be, that's why it says make it in a fun way. So we have to be patient with them. I also want to bring another point to the equation that's very important to me. Again, the old African proverbs suggest this is very important. And I'm going to give you some feedback on how, one way that I was motivated. And I made mention to it before, but I'm going to give you one. One of the African proverbs that we got says it takes a village to raise a child. I'm a staunch believer in that. I talked before about the communities and the neighborhoods, but this is a must, that we seek out appropriate help, mentors, and things in that nature to help us raise our children. It's a must. We need to start them off doing positive things. We don't want to just let them just do whatever they want to do. We don't want them to just be idled because they're going to find themselves in a lot of negative behavior. So we want some structure. We want to lay down some structure. And chores do that. That's why it's important to give them chores. And these chores are going to, we're going to talk about that, chores for when you get older, the chores should grow, but you definitely have to have it. But anyway, again, back to the village concept. I can recall when I was in prison studying child raising. Again, I made mention to the book that really motivated me, and I got it here with me now. It's called Letters, Lord Chesterfield's Letters. And this book motivated me. I found my voice in this book, the voice that I was going to use to communicate with my son. And I was very inspired. Lord Chesterfield's son was abroad studying. He was in pursuit of his education, and his father had connected him with a large group of individual array of people that he had developed relationships with over the years. And he utilized these people to help those individuals that he knew that was in the area that his sons may be visiting. He utilized those people to stand as some form of a mentor or guide for his children. Even if it was just to stay in their house, he wanted to make sure he had a friend somewhere that he knew was a positive role model, this upright citizen that took care of his responsibilities. His house was a safe environment. So he would say, "Hey, I want my son, my son to be in town. Could he stay with you? Would you, guide him and look out for him? And I'll bless you. And this is, I'll do something for you. You do this for me." So this is what I got out of the book. I admired how Lord Chesterfield communicated with his sons by way of letter writing. And I took that and I said, well, I'm going to have to write my sons. And I started writing them because I left, they were 5 and 4. So I started writing them in-depth letters, talking to them about things that I thought was very important that would help them along the way. And for the most part, my sons are doing pretty good. I mean, and I'm proud of them, even though we've had some issues, but that happens all the time. I guess a child get to a certain age, he may want to buck, and then my absence created some frustration also with me and my children, and some other things too that maybe we'll get into at another time. But at this particular time, I want to point out the importance of the village, finding individuals that you can seek assistance from that may be profound in a particular field that you're not. I want, I think it's important that the youngsters learn another language at a young age. So if you can find a friend who actually is a Spanish speaking person or French or whatever language, Arabic or whatever, Mandarin, whatever language it is, if you can find someone that speaks that language, you can network with them and you can say, well, this is a language I want my son or daughter to learn, and you make the connection. And that's someone that can possibly mentor them in that particular field. You may sports. One of my sons is a sports guy. You may find somebody that's very, very astute in sports. I got a nephew that's into sports. He played college ball, and he's teaching and directing young. That's mentoring. So you find people that's doing what you may not be skilled at, and that's the village. And that's the village. So we have to learn to, and I suggest parents, way before you become a parent, that you concentrate on making that kind of connection, meeting people. That's networking. And you meet people that may be able to help you down the line with your child or children. So that's very important. And we're going to definitely speak about this networking thing and this mentorship because, that's what this is about. That's what this channel is about. This is my way of giving back. We're mentoring one another. We're giving each other information. I'm sharing information with you all in hopes that you can take it out and grow with it and make it help you and help whomever else, your children. This is what this is about. This is the master channel about learning how to make our children master in whatever field it is. So that Lord Chesterfield really motivated me to teach my children. And that's what these books, my books is about the same thing. King is about a young man being motivated and inspired by his grandfather to become a master. And it's the stories is very, very intriguing. I'm sure you'll love it. You can get it from Amazon or Barnes and Noble. You got the ebook, you got the softback, hardback, and you can get it in an Audible. And this is also a code and ethics for up and coming players. This is another guidebook. These books are guidebooks to preparing young males mainly, but the information is it can go for anyone. It's just good information. So you just take the best out of it and you utilize it wherever you can. In that, like I say, I also want to. I'm gonna close out by mentioning some young prodigies that I admired, that I paid attention to, that started out young. So that's I'm saying I'm going to mention these people because they were young when they started out in their particular professions, in their fields. Most of them are it was athletes and entertainers. I'm not saying it because I know a lot of us believe that this is how we see our way out, is our sons or daughters or children becoming athletes, basically the boys. And I'm going to talk about that in the coming episode about the potentials of a young black male or any child, boy, girl, becoming a professional sports person. But these people are particular. The majority of them are sports figures. We're gonna start off talking about. I'm gonna start with. We start with Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is said to had became, I guess, immersed in golf at a very, very young age. His father was taking him in the yard, in the backyard, in the garage, and he was punting the ball and hitting it, and Tiger just lit up. He was focused on that at a very, very young age. I think he was 6 months old or something at that time. And by the time he had turned two, Tiger was playing golf. And by the time he was five, they said he was in a golf magazine. So Tiger Woods then became one of the first black, really person to a grand. I don't know what you call it, but he's one of the greatest golfers that ever existed. And he was black, and he's playing golf in a predominantly white sport. It was predominantly it was pretty much all white for the most part, and he changed things, with his talent. And his father groomed him. And I'm sure as he got older, he had other people, he had other help preparing his son. Floyd Mayweather said he was a toddler when he was fitted for boxing gloves. And by the age of 7, he was boxing competitively. You know what I'm saying? Kobe Bryant is said to start playing basketball at the age of 3. Stephen Curry speaks about him recalling playing in a rec league basketball in North Carolina at the age 6. And everybody knows one of the greatest entertainers that ever lived. I mean, phenomenal, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is said to have joined his brothers, the group, the Jackson 5, at the age of 5. Now, I brought all this up to say basically one thing. These prodigies started at a young age. So this is what parents must do. We must have the vision to visualize this at an early age. We need to figure out, we need to map out some strategies that we would use to raise our children, to put them in the best position that we can possibly be in. And one of the things, again, I want to bring to our attention before I close, I want to say this again, is it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a child. So we need to do our best to seek out qualified members in our communities to help us and to be that for someone else. We got to give. As much as we're asking someone to give to us, we need to give too. Give our time, our patience, and our skills and our qualities to help us grow as a people. So I'm not going to keep going with this. I'll be back at you all here shortly. This is part 3. So it's all about the babies. I don't know how many parts it's going to be, but I'm hoping that you've heard something that can possibly inspire you to get on track if you're not on track, and if you are on track, to stay on track. And if you know someone that it can possibly help, I'm sure there's someone you can think of. I ask that you share it with them. That's how the channel grows. We share the information. Uh, you know, we share because we care. So you share with someone else, and that'll help the channel grow. So I ask that you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, I want to suggest that you do one thing for yourself